Hi, I'm Raylyn from Itchin' for Some Stitchin'. If you're new to my channel, I design simply chic patterns for crocheters of all levels. You can find written instructions for all my free patterns on itchinforsomestitchin.com. You can find all my patterns in PDF format for purchase in my shop, or you can get them as a member of my VIP community. If you haven't done so before, I'd love it if you'd hit that like button, pop a comment on down below, and subscribe to the channel. Today I'm going to share with you how to crochet the Dahlia Capelet. The Dahlia Capelet is a beautiful, highly textured accessory piece that you can customize to your perfect style with a collarless, split collar, or turtleneck look. You can find full written instructions for the Dahlia Capelet in PDF format in my shop or as part of the digital magazine Studio Crochet Issue 4, the Texture Edition. I'll put a link to the shop and to Studio Crochet in the description below. If I decide to eventually publish the pattern for free, you'll be able to find it on my website, itchinforsomestitchin.com. In this tutorial, I'm going to show you how to make the collarless capelet in size small. The materials you'll need for this tutorial include a bulky No. 5 yarn. For the original design, I used Knit Picks Brava Bulky in colorway denim, but for today's tutorial, I will show you using Red Heart Huga in colorway Rust. For size small, you will need approximately 594 yards for the basic capelet, and then add an extra 136 yards for each of the two color options. You will also need a 6.5 millimeter crochet hook, a measuring tape, embroidery scissors, a tapestry needle, and you should have some stitch markers on hand, although you may or may not choose to use them. This tutorial is done using US terminology. A US to UK conversion chart is provided in the written instructions. The skills you will need include the chain stitch, the slip stitch, the single crochet, and the double crochet. This tutorial also uses some special stitches, which are demonstrated in the video, and full tutorials to each can be found in the description below. These special stitches include the front post double crochet, the back post double crochet, the mini basket weave stitch, and the reverse single crochet, which is also called the crab stitch. To start, I'm going to chain 84 for size small. One, two, three, 4, 5, 6. $80, 81, 82, 83, and 84. Okay, now I have my foundation chain of 84, and now what I'm going to do is I'm going to slip stitch my last chain to my first chain to form a large ring. Now, it is important that as you're doing this, and this to me seems like it is the hardest part, is that you do not twist your foundation chain while you're doing this, because you do not want the ring to be twisted, okay? And that is kind of the tricky part, okay? So once you have your ring, let's see if I can make sure that this is not twisted here. Okay, so we're going to like this. Okay, so once we have our ring, we're going to start round 1 by chaining 3. 1, 2, and 3. Okay, and this chain 3 does not count as a stitch. And the next thing we are going to do is we are going to double crochet into our next stitch. I like to go into the back post only, so you'll notice that going around this foundation chain, I will be working not on this side here, but on this side and going underneath these back bumps here. We're going to go under our first one, which is right here, and make a double crochet. So we are going to yarn over, insert our hook, yarn over, pull through 1, 3 loops on our hook, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. Okay, and I'm going to do that in every one of these little back bumps all the way back around. And when we get right around here, I'm going to come back and I'm going to show you how to close up our first round. Here I am towards the end of round 1. I have just made stitch 81, and I'm going to go ahead and go into this one here and make 82. This is 83. And here's 84 right here. Okay. All right. So you want to make sure that you end up with your original stitch count. Mine was 84. Okay. So now what I want to do to seal the two sides together, I am going to slip stitch into the top of this chain 3. Remember, the chain 3 does not count as a stitch, and it will not throughout the rest of the pattern. This is 1, 2, and 3. I'm going to just place a slip stitch right here. Okay, and now we have closed off. And I also want you to notice that my ring here is not twisted. That is really important to this pattern, okay? So this is round 1. For round 2, we are going to start off again with another chain 3. 1, 2, 3. And now for our next stitch, we are going to be doing what's called the front post double crochet. Now with the front post double crochet, we are not working into our stitches as we typically do. We are going to be working around the posts of our double crochet here, okay? So we are going to yarn over. And what we're going to do for the front post double crochet is we are going to insert our hook from front to back. Okay, so we're going to go around this post like this, making sure that our stitch is laying on top of our hook. We're going to yarn over and pull under that post. We pull up, we have 3 loops on our hook. We're going to yarn over and pull through 2, and yarn over, pull through 2 to complete our double crochet. Okay, and that is a front post double crochet. As I said, I do have a full tutorial on that, which is linked into this video. For our next stitch, what we're going to be doing is called the back post double crochet. And just like the front post double crochet, it is not worked into a stitch, but around the post of a stitch. So it's going to be around this post here. And it is a double crochet, so we're going to start off with yarning over. For the back post double crochet, we're going to start by going from the back to the front. So around this post here, around the front, into the back. In this case, your stitch will be on top of the hook, but behind your work, okay? So this is the back post double crochet. We're going to yarn over, pull through. We have 3 loops on our hook, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2 to complete that double crochet. So first stitch is a front post double crochet, and our second stitch is a back post double crochet. We are going to continue on in this pattern all the way around our row 1, all the way around the entire thing, and we're going to come back here. Okay, so what we're doing here, this is actually called the mini basket weave stitch. When you alternate front post, back post, front post, back post, all the way around, when you alternate those stitches, it is called the mini basket weave stitch. And when we get right around here, I'm going to come back and finish the last few stitches for you, show you how to move on to the next row, and the next row will be just the reverse of what we've done here. Okay, here we are near the end of round 2. I have just worked a back post double crochet. So now what I want to do is I want to work a front post double crochet around this post right here. So I'm going to yarn over, insert my hook from front to back. My post is over my hook here in the front of my work. I'm going to yarn over, pull through, 3 loops on my hook, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. Okay, and my last stitch here, remember this is the turning chain. This is, which we're actually not turning in this pattern, but this is our chain 3 that does not count as a stitch, so we are not going to count that one. So this is our last stitch right here. This should be stitch 84. I'm going to do a back post double crochet. So I am going to yarn over. I'm going to insert from the back to the front around the post. Okay, now the post is on top of my hook, but it is on the back side of my work here. So we are going to yarn over and pull through, 3 loops on our hook, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. Okay, now to close round 2, we're going to go ahead and slip stitch to the top of the chain 3. 1, 2, and 3. So that is right here. Okay, so we've just completed round 2. What you can see here is we look like we have a very, very bulky pattern. Okay, so these stitches will actually lengthen out a little bit as we add more layers to it, but for right now it's going to look particularly bulky. Okay, so to move on to round 3, we are going to chain 3 again. 1, 2, and 3. Okay, and this just gets us up to the height of the stitch that we need to be at. Okay, so now with the mini basket weave stitch, what we need to do is we need to look at the stitches that we have on this previous round. And our first one here is a front post double crochet, and then our second one is a back post double crochet, and then we have repeated that pattern all the way around. So for round 3, what we want to do is around this front post double crochet, we're going to work the opposite stitch. We're going to work a back post double crochet, and then around every back post double crochet, we're going to work a front post double crochet. Okay, so that'll be the pattern for round 3. It's a back post double crochet around your front post double crochet, front post double crochet around your back post double crochets, all the way around. So let me work these first 2 for you. So we're going to work a back post double crochet around this front post double crochet here. So we're going to yarn over. We are going to insert our hook from back to front. Okay, the post is laying over my hook on the back side of my work. I'm going to yarn over and pull through, 3 loops on my hook, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. Okay, so now we want to work a front post double crochet around this back post double crochet. We're going to yarn over. We are going to insert our hook from front to back. So this is front, around the post, through the back. So we do have our post laying over our hook on the front side of our work. Yarn over, pull through. We have 3 loops on our hook. Yarn over, pull through 2, and then yarn over again, pull through 2 to complete our double crochet. Okay, so now back post double crochet around a front post double crochet, front post double crochet around a back post double crochet. And we're going to continue that all the way again around. Remember, put a back post double crochet where you see a front post double crochet, and a front post double crochet where you see a back post double crochet. Okay, all the way around. I'll meet you back here to close up this round and continue on from there. Okay, so here I am at the end of round 3. I have just worked a front post double crochet around a back post double crochet. Now I am going to work a back post double crochet around this front post double crochet. So I'm going to go in from back to front around the post. My post is on top of my hook on the back side of my work. Yarn over, pull through, 3 loops, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. And now I'm going to work around my last stitch here, which is a back post double crochet. So I'm going to work a front post double crochet. So I'm going to yarn over, insert my hook from front to back. I have my post on top of my hook on the top of my work here. Yarn over, pull through, 3 loops, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. Okay, to close round 3, we're going to go ahead and put a slip stitch at the top of the chain 3 right here. This is 1, 2, and 3. Okay, and now we have successfully closed round 3. So this pattern is worked in technically 3 sections. You'll have the main body, you'll have the neckline, you also have a small border, which isn't really a section, but it is a border that will go along the bottom of the capelet here. And then if you choose to, you can add on one of the optional collars, the split collar or the turtleneck collar. Okay, so for the main body, which is this mini basket weave section, I want you to continue doing repeats of round 2 and round 3. Now remember, the gist of the mini basket weave stitch is that you put a front post double crochet wherever you see a back post double crochet, and a back post double crochet wherever you see a front post double crochet. Okay, so continue doing that pattern. Go about 18 rounds, which should be about 8.5 inches. Now, you of course are free to make your capelet as long or as short as you like. If you want a shorter capelet, so your length is going to be this direction, so from here up as you build. Okay, so if you want a shorter one, you would work less rounds. If you would like a longer one, you would work more rounds. That is completely your preference. For the capelet that I have designed, it is 18 rounds and it should measure from here up about 8.5 inches. Please go ahead and do that. And when we get to that section, when we finish up that main body, we'll come back and we'll move on to the next part. So I'm back and I have finished all 18 rounds for my capelet. And I'm going to go ahead and measure this. We want it to be about 8.5 inches. And as you can see, that's exactly what I have right here, is 8.5 inches. All right. And the other things I want to point out here is that this right here is where we've been doing those chain 3s. As you can see, it's pretty much a seamless, integration right here. Okay. So now that we're at this point, I don't want you to bind off, but what we are going to start doing is we are going to start moving on to the neckline. And so we want to do, this is the part that kind of goes around your shoulders and your chest area. Now what we're going to do is we're going to start bringing this in so it kind of conforms up more to your neckline. So there's not this big hole, you have a smaller space to put your head through. Okay. So what we are going to do is we are going to chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and I'm going to double crochet into the next 4 stitches. So I'm going to yarn over, and now this is going into the top. Okay, this is no longer working around the post. We are working as we would regular stitches into the top stitches. Okay, so I'm going to yarn over and insert my hook, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. Okay, and that is 1, and this is 2, this is 3, and this is 4. Okay, so now what we want to do to kind of start getting this piece to decrease inwards is we're going to do a decrease in the next 2 stitches. We're going to do what's called the double crochet 2 together. I do have a full tutorial on that. I'll put a link in the description for you, but I'm going to show you how to do it here. So what we're going to do is we are going to take these next 2 stitches, okay, which would be stitch 5 and 6, and we're going to turn it into 1 stitch. So we have 4 stitches here, and we're going to take these 2 stitches and turn it into stitch number 5, okay? So we're going to yarn over. We are going to insert our hook into the first stitch. We are going to yarn over and pull through, okay? We have 3 loops on our hook, and we're going to kind of act like we're going to finish this double crochet, but we're not going to. We're going to yarn over and pull through the first 2 loops, okay? And we're going to leave it just like this. Now what we're going to do is we're going to act like we're going to make a double crochet into this next stitch here. We're going to yarn over. We are going to insert our hook, yarn over and pull through 1, okay? Just like we did here, we're going to act like we're going to make a double crochet. We're going to yarn over, pull through 2. We have 3 loops on our hook. Now what we're going to do is yarn over and pull through all 3, okay? And what you can see is I now have only 1 stitch where I once had 2 stitches. Now it does look here like you have 2 posts, but by the top of the stitch, you can tell that it is actually only one stitch. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, and this is our 5th stitch. So we have reduced our stitch count now by 1 by doing this, okay? And we're actually going to continue in this pattern all the way around. So we're gonna double crochet into the next 4 stitches. Okay, 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay, and we're going to reduce our stitch count here again by 1 by turning these 2 stitches into 1. Yarn over, insert, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, insert into our next stitch. This is my yarn over, pull up, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 3, and we've just reduced our stitch count by 1 once again, okay? We're going to continue that all the way around. Double crochet into the next 4 stitches, double crochet 2 together the next 2 stitches, so you have 4, and then your 5th stitch, your 5 and 6 become stitch number 5. We're going to do that all the way around, and when we come back here, I'm going to show you how to close this off. And what we're doing in this round is we are effectively reducing our stitch count by 14, okay? So we'll have 14 total reductions all the way around. So I started with 84, and I should end up with 70 when I get to the end of this round. Okay, so here I am at the end of round 1 for the neckline. I have just double crocheted 2 together here, so this is actually my 65. Okay, this made 65 all around. Starting from here around, this is number 65, 66, 67, 68. Okay, and that's 3, so I need 1 more double crochet. This makes 69. Okay, and now I'm going to double crochet 2 together, my last 2 stitches, yarn over, insert my hook, yarn over, pull up, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over into my last stitch right here, yarn over, pull up, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, and pull through 3. Okay, and that makes number 70. Remember, our chain 3 does not count as a stitch, okay? It is just to get us up to the height of the stitch that we need. To close this off, we are going to go ahead and slip stitch into the top of the chain 3. This is 1, 2, and 3. And now, before I go, I do want to note that if for some reason, and you can do this at any point, like you could have done this during the body as well, if for some reason you are having difficulty seeing that chain 3, like sometimes it starts to become the look like a stitch, I find that the very best thing to do is, if you're having those issues, is to use a stitch marker and mark your chain 3 every time. So just when you work your chain 3, add a little stitch marker in there so you know when you come back around that this is your chain 3 and not actually a stitch. Okay, I don't tend to do that, but I will do it if I'm having trouble seeing the difference between the chain 3 and a stitch. Okay, so this again, we're going to slip stitch to the top of the chain 3, 1, 2, 3. Okay, and we've just closed round 1 of our neckline, and we want to move on to round 2. So we're going to chain 3, 1, 2, 3. If you're going to use a stitch marker, this would be where you would put it. Okay, and then we're going to double crochet into, now this is where it becomes different. You would need to check the pattern instructions, okay? For the size small that I'm doing, I'm going to double crochet into the next 8 stitches, okay? So I'm going to start here, and I'm going to go right here. This is our first stitch. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Okay, and here we're going to make another reduction. Okay, we're going to turn stitches 9 and 10 into stitch 9, only 1. Okay, so yarn over, insert our hook, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, insert our hook into the next stitch, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 3, and now we have stitch number 9, okay? So we're going to continue just like that all the way around. We are going to make 8 double crochets, and then in the 9th and 10th one, we're going to turn those into stitch number 9. So we're going to make a reduction after every 8th stitch. Let's do that all the way around. And when we get back to our beginning, again, I'll show you how to close that off. Now, keep in mind that the stitch where you will be reducing does vary by which size you are doing. So it is important that unless you are doing the size I'm doing right now, which is small, that you do double check those written instructions. Okay, so here we are at the end of round 2 for the neckline. I am on my 62nd stitch. Okay, I have reduced after every 8 stitches. So I've taken stitches 9 and 10 and turned them into 1 to just 9. Okay, so I am reducing now from 70 to 63 for my size. Okay, this is stitch number 62, and I'm going to end with a double crochet 2 together right here to make my 63rd stitch. Okay, and to close this off, I am going to slip stitch into the top of the chain 3. Okay, there we are. Now it is important that if you are doing a different size, it is important to note that there is a possibility that you will not end on this double crochet 2 together. In other words, your decreases may not be even, okay? And if that is the case, you'll end up, you want to go ahead and just double crochet in any remaining spaces you have after your double crochet 2 together. All right, so to move on to round 3, we are going to chain 3, 1, 2, and 3. Okay, and now I want to double crochet into the next 7 stitches. This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and here is 7. Okay, and just like we've been doing before, after our 7th stitch now, instead of 8, after our 7th stitch, we're going to double crochet 2 together, yarn over, insert hook, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, insert hook, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 3. So we are now double crocheting 2 together, the 8th and the 9th stitch, so that we are now reducing down to 8. So we have 7, and then here's our 8th stitch. We're going to do that all the way around. It is 7 double crochets, double crochet 2 together, your 8th and 9th stitch, so you end up with only 8 stitches. Again, please be sure to double check the pattern instructions. This is for size small only, and when you get back down around here, I will come back and I will show you how to move up to round 4. Okay, so here we are at the end of round 3. Okay, this is my 55th stitch. I'm going to end with a double crochet 2 together, and I'm going to double crochet this stitch and this stitch together. And it's really, really important, you guys, when you get here, that you don't make this mistake. Oftentimes people think that this is also a stitch right here, and it's actually not. This is the one, this is attached to your chain 3. It is not a stitch, okay? So my ending stitches are actually here. There's one here and one here, and I'm going to reduce those down using the double crochet 2 together to make my 56th stitch. Okay, so I'm going to yarn over, insert my hook, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, insert, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 3, and I'm going to close it off with a slip stitch into the top of the chain 3, 1, 2, and 3, and this is to close round 3. Okay. For round 4, I'm going to chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and I'm going to repeat the same pattern, only this time I'm going to make 6 double crochets and then double crochet 2 together the 7th and 8th stitches so that I make only 7 stitches. Okay, so it's yarn over, insert our hook, make our first double crochet. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and here is 6. Okay, and now we are going to double crochet 2 together, 7 and 8, so that we reduce down to only 7 stitches here. Okay, so this is our 7th stitch. We're going to repeat that all the way around. 6 double crochets, or double crochet in the next 6 stitches, double crochet 2 together your next 2 stitches. Do that all the way around. I'll meet you right back here, and we'll close off round 4. Okay, so here we are. We are at the end of round 4. I have just completed my 6th double crochet. So I am now going to double crochet 2 together my last 2 stitches. That is this stitch here and this stitch here. This stitch is not a working stitch. This is the one that is attached to our chain 3. So remember, our last 2 stitches are actually right here. I'm going to yarn over, insert my hook, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, insert my hook, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2, and yarn over, pull through 3 for that last double crochet 2 together. And then what I'm going to do to close off round 4 is I'm going to slip stitch to the top of the chain 3. 1, 2, and 3 right here. Okay. Now to start round 5, we're going to again chain 3. It's 1, 2, and 3. Okay, and we're going to do exactly the same thing as we did in round 4, except for this time we're going to double crochet into the next 5 stitches, and then we are going to double crochet 2 together stitches 6 and 7 to reduce our stitch count down to 6. So that's yarn over. Let's go into here for our first double crochet. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and now we're going to double crochet 2 together 6 and 7 so that we only have 1 stitch here, which will be 6. Okay. Okay, so now we have 6 here. Okay, and we're going to do that all the way around. So again, it's double crochet into each of the next 5 stitches, double crochet 2 together the next 2 stitches. Do that all the way around. I'll meet you right back here. We'll close up round 5 and move on to round 6. Okay, so here we are at the end of round 5. I have just finished a section of 1 double crochet into each of 5 stitches. I am on my last 2 right here, and I'm going to double crochet the 2 together these 2 stitches to make my 6th stitch. All right, and now I'm going to slip stitch to the top of the chain 3 to close this round. Okay. So now moving on. Okay, so now moving on to round 6, we are again going to chain 3, 1, 2, and 3. Okay, and then just as we have been doing, we are going to do a series of double crochets and then a double crochet 2 together. And in this case, we are going to do another 5 double crochets and then a double crochet 2 together, stitches 6 and 7 So that's a yarn over, insert our hook here, make our first double crochet, our second double crochet, this is 3, this is 4, and this is 5. Okay, and then I'm going to double crochet 2 together, stitches 6 and 7. Okay, and I'm going to continue to do that all the way around. So it is double crochet into each of the next 5 stitches, double crochet 2 together, stitches 6 and 7. Round 6 is essentially a repeat of round 5. It may be slightly different depending on which size you are crocheting. So round 6 and round 5 could be different for you. In my particular case, round 5 and round 6 are the same. It is the 1 double crochet into each of the next 5 double crochets, and then double crocheting 2 together, stitches 6 and 7. But you really do need to take a look at the written instructions to make sure that that will hold true for the size that you are crocheting. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to complete round 6. When I get back around here, we're going to go ahead and close off this round and move on to round 7. Okay, so I have now come to the end of round 6. I have just done my last series of 5 double crochets. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So my last thing to do is double crochet stitches 6 and 7 together to make this my 6th and final stitch. Okay, and now I am going to slip stitch to the top of the chain 3 to close. 1, 2, and here is 3. Okay, and now let's move on to round 7, which is our final round of the neckline. As usual, we are going to go ahead and start with our chain 3. That's 1, 2, 3. And for the size that I'm doing, we are now going to double crochet in each of the next 7 stitches. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. And then we are going to double crochet together stitches 8 and 9, okay, to make 8 stitches. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and start that. This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is 6. Here is 7. And then I'm going to double crochet together, 2 together, stitches number 8 and 9. Okay, and I'm going to repeat that all the way around. So again, for this particular size, it is 7 double crochets and then double crochet 2 together. Okay, 7 double crochets, double crochet 2 together, all the way around. And when we get back to the back end right here, I'll come back and we'll close up round 7 and move on to section 3, which is our border section. Okay, here we are at the end of round 7. I have just completed 7 double crochet stitches. I am on my last one where I'm going to double crochet 2 together, stitches 8 and 9. Okay, so that is our final double crochet 2 together. And now to close this round, I'm going to slip stitch to the top of the chain 3. That's 1, 2, and this is 3 here at the top. Okay. And then I'm going to bind off and weave in my ends to close up this neckline section here. So what I want to show you at this point is, hopefully you can see how we have taken okay, so this is the bottom
of our capelet, and as we have reduced, you can see that coming in here along the neckline, okay, to make this a smaller neckline. And what we've done is we've really essentially created almost like a bell shape here, okay? So again, let's go ahead, snip this here, bind it off, weave in our ends, and we're going to come back and I'm going to show you how to put a border along the bottom of our capelet. Okay, so let's move on to our border, and the border that we have put on this capelet is called the crab stitch, also known as the reverse single crochet. So what we're going to do is I've left my end here unweaved so that I would have a better idea of where my when I made that large ring in the very beginning, where I had the single crochet, where I had slip stitched together the first and the last stitches. So this is where the join is. So this is where I want to attach my yarn. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to do that. Let me insert my hook, and I'm going to attach this with a slip stitch. Okay. Now, to do the crab stitch, I am going to start by chaining one. And this is going to feel a little weird at first when you do this. If you don't know how to do the crab stitch, I do have a full tutorial on how to do it. But essentially what we're going to be doing is we are essentially just going to be single crocheting, but we're going to be doing it in the opposite direction of what we're used to. We are used to crocheting from right to left. In this case, we're going to be going from left to right, and it's going to look and feel a little funky at first, but eventually you will catch on, okay? So I have chained one, and so what I'm going to do is now I'm going to insert my hook into my first stitch, which is down here. Okay. I'm going to pull my yarn through. So you see how it's kind of twisted there, but I do have 2 loops on my hook. I'm going to yarn over, and I'm going to pull through both loops. Okay, and that is technically my first single crochet. Now it does not look like a single crochet, but that's because this is the reverse single crochet, which is going to kind of put a twisted like rope structure here at the bottom of our capelet. So now we're going to continue moving from left to right, inserting our hook into the next stitch here. My yarn over is technically not coming over. My yarn over is right here. So I'm going to pull it through. Okay. 2 loops on my hook, yarn over, pull through those 2. Okay, and you can see that twisted structure forming right here. Again, we're going to insert into the next stitch, which is right here. We're going to pull through, that's my yarn over, pull through. Okay, yarn over, pull through 2. Okay, and just keep in that pattern. Insert our hook into the next stitch here at the base. This is technically what we're crocheting into is our foundation chain, okay? It's the other side of our foundation chain, whereas we started our capelet on this side, we're doing our trim or our border on the opposite side, okay? So let's insert our hook. This is technically my yarn over, pull through. I have 2 loops on my hook, yarn over, and pull through. Okay, so just keep doing that. That's the crab stitch. Do it all the way around your capelet, and you're going to come back here and we are going to close it off right here. Okay, so here we are. We are at the end of our border, and now this is a little tricky to see with the yarn here, but what I want to do is I've finished my last reverse single crochet, and what I want to do is I want to slip stitch into the chain 1 where I first began here. Remember, I was working in the opposite direction, so I was going from left to right all the way around here. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to slip stitch into my chain 1, which is right over here. Okay, to close this off. Okay, and then what I would do is I would, again, snip this, bind off, okay, snip that for my bind off, and then weave in my ends. Now, before I go, a couple other things. So I'm not going to go ahead and snip or bind off here, so just bear with me. I'll have a bunch of little yarn tags hanging out. But what I want you to notice is that the underside of this crab stitch has this more twisted look, I think, right here. Okay, than the side where we've actually worked. What you choose to do is your preference. If you prefer this look here, then leave it as is. If you prefer this twisted look, which I do, I would turn my project, my capelet, inside out. And don't worry, because it's exactly the same on the inside as it is on the outside. Also, what you could have done if you wanted to make sure that that twist went on this side here versus here, you could have turned your capelet inside out before working your crab stitch border. But either way, it is a personal choice on how you want to have that border look. So the other thing that I want to mention is that this video tutorial was for the basic Dahlia Capelet. However, with the original design, I did create 2 separate collars that I think look absolutely amazing with this capelet. One is a ribbed split collar and one is a ribbed turtleneck collar. As of right now, I do not intend to film those 2 different collars. However, you can get the full instructions in the PDF or in Studio Crochet issue 4, the texture edition. If I do choose to at some point film the 2 different collars and how to assemble those collars onto the capelet, I will be sure to put a link in the description for you. Thank you so much for joining me in this tutorial. If you enjoyed it, please consider giving it a like and subscribing to my channel, and I'll be back with more tutorials for you in the future.